one.
Oh.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
of the United States of
United
America
States of America,
and to the republic
like
for which it
which
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call of directors. Director Schoenberg.
Present.
Director Nyman.
Here,
Director Gibson.
Here.
And Director Kelly.
Here.
I'm Director Garcia, chairing the meeting tonight. Number two, any discussion to adjust the agenda from any of my directors?
Yes. I would like
Director Schoenberg, go ahead.
I would like to move that we place all of the financial business, number 11, 12, and 13. I mean, we really don't need to do 13, but I'm just going to keep it together. So 11, 12, and 13 after 17, before 18.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call of directors. Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 5-0-0, motion passed. So we will make that adjustment. Okay, number three, any public comments out there tonight? Not hearing any, we'll move to number four. Unfinished business, discussion, vote, update on Fraser Park, Lake of the Woods, consolidate.
Could you go ahead and note the
Excuse me?
time, please?
The time is 6:03, thank you. That friendly reminder. Discussion vote update on Fraser Park, Lake of the Woods Consolidation Planning Project. A, discussion vote update on test wells. Is Dee with us tonight?
No, I can cover that. Test well number 2, the first one we drilled, has actually already been, that's been completed. We're waiting on the test results back from the lab. We're hoping to maybe get them back by Friday. We started on Monday at the Saya Ranch for the test well. It's been going well. We're down to, I think he said 170 feet. We've had good water since, I think, around 50 feet. Well, I don't want to say good water. We've had good water flow, and they've been taking water samples and soil samples as they go, and then they'll get those down to the lab too. So hopefully, they said by mid-August we should have all the water quality results back, and then we'll know better off, what's going on. We had an ad hoc with Jesse and Lauren Sanchez and Pam and Joan and Brahma and a bunch of us out there at Say Ranch today, and we went through the whole process of learning how they drill it and how they do the other wells and stuff. So everything's going really good right now. So hopefully it continues like that.
Great, thank you, Johnny. B, discussion vote on extending the project timeline. Who can speak to that?
I haven't got a chance to get together with Dave. He was on vacation. He came back Monday, so I'll get with Dave and we'll have that. We'll have something for the next meeting with Lawrence.
I do have one issue with what keeps going out as far as the timeline extension, and that's the MOU, which is still listed under task 1, and the completed date right now is July 2021. It is not completed, and I would like to see that move till adequate time to go over all the test well results and everything else, and in fact look at plans before we finalize the MOU. So I think that should be moved to.
Yeah, that's fine. All of anything can get updated.
Okay, Oscar, you got that?
I'm mentioning it again because I mentioned it a couple times and it keeps showing up every time I see a timeline. It shows up as completed in 2021, and it's not.
Okay. So where do we have to change that at?
Under the tasks and under the dates on the timeline. So I mean, I guess it can stay in task 1, but originally we had asked for it to be moved to a later task, but I guess it could be left in task 1, I suppose, but it really should have been like one of the later tasks.
Yeah, when we ask Lawrence for the date adjustments, we'll adjust that as well.
Okay,
Okay, good.
when are you gonna do that?
What's that?
When are you planning on
At
doing
our
Um,
state update meeting.
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna get with Dave because you guys stated that he did this, so I gotta find out what process he did it with, and then once that happens, we'll have the updates to present to Lawrence, and then we'll also need dates from. We'll probably need dates from you guys as to when you guys would like those completed dates from you guys and D.
Well, didn't D? So the timeline we have wasn't on with D.
Well, the timeline that you guys have is, I believe it's the original timeline that.
Well, no. In the packet, there's a corrected timeline. So who made the
Okay.
correction on the
That
timeline?
came from Lawrence, just as an example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the timeline that I've seen, I think it's the original timeline, and if Dave's on here, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the original timeline. It hasn't been changed.
Okay, so it's the original timeline, but Lawrence crossed off some things and just put an example thing.
So is D not joining us tonight?
He was planning on it, and I sent him a text just now. He said today he was gonna be here, so I sent him a text asking if he was joining us. He might be having technical issues. He said, he just had an issue with somebody in his office, so he'll be calling in as soon as he rectifies that.
Okay.
You guys had a question on the timeline?
Yeah, Dave, they want the timeline adjusted, but they said that you normally did something with it, so I told them I was not familiar with that. I would get with you.
Yeah,
And,
and I had made some adjustments to it, and so I had sent out. That was a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, what I was saying is one of the problems I had is that on both adjustments, what Lawrence sent in, what you sent, I believe the MOU was not adjusted, and that needs to be adjusted.
right. Okay.
And then I'm not so sure about some of the other ones because it's really up to D as to how long he thinks he needs for some of these things. So he's.
yeah, and that's normally like another project. That's normally what I would do to extend the timelines is I'd get with the engineer in the district to see how far out they wanted to change the timelines, and then usually the engineer would give me the dates, and then I would submit those in a report to the state. But I don't know what process you guys have been using, so Dave will help me out with that.
Better do it quickly.
Okay. C, discussion vote on district sphere of influence for the annexation, data collection and mapping.
Which we really can't move forward on numbers on C or D until we have more information. Really, until we have the test well information, I don't believe that we can move forward on either of those.
Okay, then let's, I'll take a motion to, table them to the next, planning meeting.
Just carry them over, yeah.
I'm sorry, excuse me?
We can just carry them over, and I mean, we need to write on those that we aren't able to beat those at the time for this time.
Okay, you're breaking up, but I got the message, and I think, the point is well taken, and we'll move them forward. E, discuss and vote on the revised Fraser Park Lake of the Woods transfer agreement, MOU.
So same issue here. Yes, it's revised. I mean, I guess take a preliminary vote, but again, really the MOU cannot be completed until we have more information. So I'm not sure what we would be voting on.
And
So
this
it-
needs to be carried over.
Okay. So done. Carried over.
Can we go back to A, on discussion of test wells?
Yes. Director Nyman.
I'd just like D to give us kind of an update on what he knows about the first test well that we did over on the Wainwright French property, as far as any kind of, volume or anything, or any information that we have.
I believe Johnny addressed that already, unless.
I would
he's
like
with
to
us.
hear from our engineer, please.
Is he with, oh, there he is, thank you. D, would you please, respond to Director Nyman's request?
Yeah, we get the preliminary results from the test lab, from the chemistry that was done on the well, with 3 airlift samples and 1 pump sample. And our fluorides are below 2. Our uranium is below 20, probably more like 10 and 11. Our arsenic is non-detected. Our nitrates are around 6, 7, something like that. So
Okay.
the water quality appears to be acceptable. We haven't had a chance to really look at these, just got them. And so we're going to evaluate it, but it looks pretty darn good. Now, as far as volume, what we have seen from the cuttings indicates to us that, the aquifer is pretty granular and pretty well open. We wouldn't expect to do, I don't think, much more than about 300 gallons a minute from that well, simply because we don't want to create any interference with our neighbors.
Mhm.
But it would be a good supplement on the west side. I think the aquifer would probably produce more, maybe 500 gallons a minute, but I wouldn't want to think that that we could produce that without creating some problems with our neighbors. So I'm thinking probably around 300 gallons a minute, 250, something like that, from a small well that would be at would discharge into the transmission line there. So it looks pretty good.
When you're saying that create problems with the neighbors, you're anticipating that if we had more volume coming out of that, it would decrease the volume of private wells in the area?
Let me see. Say it one more time, Lisa. I wasn't.
I'm trying to understand what you mean by the neighbors and what it would do to the neighbors. So are you saying that if we increase the volume, if we put a well there, that it would decrease the volume of private wells in the area?
Yeah, we don't want to interfere with the, exactly, Lisa. We don't want to interfere with the neighbors. And part of that is lowering the water levels so that their wells don't produce as much. And so,
But I have a quick question on that. Are those neighbors not part of the annexation possibility? And also, because if they are part of the annexation, those wells would then be used as irrigation wells and not actual property wells. I mean, not property wells, but not. In other words, if they are joining in the annexation, they would be pulling water from Fraser Park, correct?
But they still wouldn't want to lose capacity in their wells for irrigation and for their animals. So, and the closest neighbor voiced the opinions they may be interested in joining, but they're supposed to send us a letter to the board requesting it. They were not owners at the time that we had when we went around the last time. They bought it around the same time, and the old owners opted out. These owners may be interested in it, but still we don't want to hinder their well, even though they're going to use it for irrigation.
what we did in another small water system, much smaller than this one, was that we allowed the use of the wells for irrigation. They could continue that use, but then the domestic water would have to come from the water purveyor. And that worked out really well. We put backflow prevention devices in those systems where the people had existing wells and they wanted to continue to use them for the livestock or their lawn watering or whatever. And so we allowed that, and then they just had to hook the domestic water up to their house.
Okay, so does that answer your questions, Director Nyman?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I have a question. If
Director Kelly,
people-
go ahead.
if private well owners can keep their wells and use it for irrigation for lawns, why, and right now we're down to 55 gallons per day, and we can't water outdoors. How is that fair?
Well, they're not part of the district yet, and that's still several years off. So by then, we may not have to address that issue. But if they become part of our district, it's still, I believe, we're still only going to be able to govern the domestic water that we're providing. And if they have their own well on their own property, I don't know how that's going to work out. But that's still several years in the distance. So
Yeah, and
And
hopefully,
was that Terry asking that question?
Yes.
Director Kelly, yes.
And Terry, we are still in Lake of the Woods. There isn't outdoor watering, but in Fraser Park, there's still outdoor watering. It's just limited.
Thank you, Director Schoenberg, for clarification. Let's move on to 4F. Discussion vote on new budget adjustment. Who would like to address that? Is that you, Director Nyman?
No, I don't think we've worked on.
We were talking about adding a line item for the MOU since we
Yeah,
received it.
we need that, Director Nyman.
Well, then you can address it.
Okay, well, we talked about taking some more money out of contingency. We need to write a letter again. Basically, what we need to do is the same thing that we've done in the past with Lawrence, with the state. Whenever we are trying to adjust, not have a line item. In the original pre-planning, we had line items for the MOU, but in the planning, we do not. And so I believe we need to draft a letter saying what we're interested in doing, what amounts we're trying to take from contingency, and where we're trying to put those. And we need to be able to cover not just the MOU, but we need to be able to cover the MSR as well. So there needs to be, a couple of line items that deal with both the MOU and the MSR. And the reason why, we had thought we were going to put that off, but we're already getting bills for it. And so in order to be reimbursed, we need to make that adjustment, at least for the MOU, but I would say for both right now.
So what figures are we going to use? I know we have a $12,000 one from Stan Hoffman and Associates. And then there's also one that Dee provided, I think was about $24,000. And that was just for the MSR.
Right, and there isn't, there's already been some billing on the MOU for legal fees. So I think that would need to go under the MOU. There would need to be a couple of classifications. So it would be both for legal for the MOU and the MSR and for.
Didn't we already put in a line item for legal costs?
Not for that specific thing, no.
What was the last $9,000 line item that we added for legal costs?
It was for other legal costs.
Associated with the MOU?
No.
So you want to make a separate item for legal fees associated with the MOU that
I want to make a
not combined with all the project?
I want to make a separate item for the MOU, which has engineering costs and other costs associated with it that are not broken out right now anyplace else. I don't just want to add it to the engineer's fees. It needs to be broken out, I believe. And the same thing with the MSR. Dave's waving his hand.
Go
I
ahead,
think
Dave.
we have a line item there for consolidation MSR. It's just as empty, the amount's empty.
Well, we talked about it. We don't have it yet.
Well, the 9,000 was put in their consolidation, I believe. Didn't we complete that? I think that was in a letter to Lawrence, wasn't it?
Yeah, Brahma, but I don't, that, like Lisa's saying, that doesn't include MOU and MSR charges.
Right, I agree with that. So I'm trying to get somebody to come to the table with what figures that do they want to put in there. Because no one's saying what figures we want to put in there.
Look, I don't think we have the figures completely worked out yet, but we need to. I'm just saying we need to write that letter. I don't know what the figures are exactly. I know that I do not believe that self-help has the extra money for Stan Hoffman, so that needs to be there. I do not believe that self-help has the extra money for legal necessarily for the MSR. I'm not sure about that, but the LAFCO, there's a small amount of money that self-help has. So I don't know how much the LAFCO, because there's still some money left over for the actual LAFCO charges. But not, I don't know if it's enough. I think it's a couple thousand. Am I correct, Dave?
I think we might have a couple thousand for the MSR work, but I think there's a significant larger amount available for the LAFCO costs.
Okay, so there's a very small amount for the MSR that's probably not going to cover the MSR, but there's a small amount. So I guess we need to work out what exactly self-help is able to cover, what is transferred over for contingency, and the same thing with the MOU. I don't believe that the last fees that we paid the attorney were anywhere in our budget.
Well, what I have on paperwork for the MSR is we have a quote from Stanley Hoffman and Associates for $12,420. And then I have a memorandum from D, March 31st, 2021. I believe that was the latest one for his work, budget for updating the engineering components for the updated municipal service review. And that he was asking for $16,776. And I have no information on costs for the MOU.
And we probably still need potentially some attorney money for the MSR as well as some administrative money for the MSR. I believe that most of the money that we have in the budget was not including anything for MSR or anything for really MOU.
Well, not for legal work.
Correct. And not for all the engineering work either, because the sphere of influence, we had some cost for that, but we have to redo that again as well. Like we had done some work on that, but that map needs to be adjusted.
Yeah, so I think you guys will probably need to get a quote from the attorney as to how much they think would how much you think they think it would cost to.
So the
see this
9,000 was a quote from them for something, but I don't remember what that was. One of the two, but it wasn't both. I believe it was for the MSR.
There was consolidation legal line item for $9,000 that was in the latest budget.
Yeah, it was all for consolidation work, from what I know.
But isn't the MOU and the MSR part of the consolidation work?
Yeah.
Yes. But I don't know. I don't think we ever saw did we see how the attorney broke that out, or was it just like a figure that the attorney threw out?
I don't know. There's an email somewhere in the past. I don't know when we got that email back from them. Do you have any idea, Tiffany?
No, I would have to search it on my computer.
And I believe that some of those fees were actually for other stuff as well. It wasn't just, I don't know. We need that spelled out, what those fees cover, because I'm a little confused about that. My understanding was that the bill that we had paid, we did not have an approval for in our budget yet. That was.
And what bill was that?
A specific bill for the MOU from our attorney. Oh, actually, no. Was that D. Jasper? Maybe that was D. Jasper's MOU bill.
No, there was one from the attorney, which they said that a check was sent to you guys already, or I just spoke to them earlier today or yesterday, and they said a check was sent for the $1,180 you guys paid.
Yeah, that was something else. Not the MOU.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been sent yet because we haven't even put it on a claim yet.
No, I thought you guys paid that, and because I submitted an RFP from She's self-help technical assistance funds to pay for that, because we didn't have a line item in the planning budget.
Oh, so that was the MOU cost that I'm talking.
Yes, so that was paid from CTA funds, and I believe we still have maybe 1,000 something left in that, so we don't have very much left in that.
Okay, so that was leftover attorney money that hadn't been spent yet.
Yes.
Leftover attorney money that was in I'm just trying to understand. Leftover attorney money, but not for the MOU, because leftover attorney money just for the whole project?
No. Well, yeah, South Help had some money for legal. But so you guys are just able to state what you're using it for, correct? You just had a pot of legal able to.
Yeah, I recall it was for test well pre-construction services. So there was a lot of consultation about, access to the various test well properties, review. There was some legal action, so we had some technical assistance funding for that. And there was some left over.
And so this leftover that you paid, the 1180, you were able to pay the MOU though. You were able to pay that bill.
Carlos?
Yeah, it was, technically it's kind of like for, reviewing of contracts and stuff like that. So we were able to fit it in, but there's not much left in there.
Okay.
Okay, have we beat down to the death yet?
Well, so I still don't think we have actual amounts per se, but it's looking like about 28 to 30. I would say, like, to be safe, 30,000 for the MSR, broken up into multiple categories. One being the actual MSR, and one being
Okay, can I say something?
yeah.
Director Nyman, please.
Alan Dowd on April 21st sent a email to Tiffany. Sorry for the delayed response. It's hard to predict, particularly with LAFCO piece, but I think we would be in the neighborhood of 30 hours. That would put the work at about $9,000. Thanks, Alan. So that's all he said. And
But
here's
they need
here's what Tiffany's original email said. The Fraser Park Public Utility District is working to adjust the budget for regional annexation project and would like to include legal costs. Would you be able to provide us a quote for A, review of the project MSR, an update to the MOU that would include the conditions of annexation, legal costs related to LAFCO portion of the annexation. If you need clarification on any of these items, I have included parties involved and in the project of this email. And then he responded that he thought the cost would be about $9,000. So those do include MSR and MOU legal costs.
Thank you.
okay, and that was already okayed by Lawrence.
And that was already okayed by Lawrence. We sent a letter and we have a line item on our budget for $9,000. And it says consolidation costs.
Legal,
Yes.
because it's not close to consolidation costs. Okay, so then we still need money for the MSR. I guess
Right.
we wait on that because we don't have. I mean, at some point we need to. Do we need to? I would say we need to probably put that in just because we're starting to get some things. So I mean, that's looking like about 30,000 or so. 28, I would say 30, 29.
Well, these costs are 16,776. So you're talking 20, 28. It's going to be like
30.
29, $30,000.
Yes, that's what I said.
Yep.
So I would say that we need to ask for 30,000, but part of that is engineering, but we need to just call it MSR and then break it down into multiple things that need to be done under that. And then the MOU still needs to be looked at again I don't know how much, I mean, it doesn't look like, I mean, we spent only 1180, actually, we didn't even spend 1180 because that was self-help. So we're probably okay with that 9,000 right now.
I agree.
Okay, so,
So we want to draft a letter to add an MSR taking from contingency, Carlos, $30,000.
Okay.
And D, when you gave us that quote for 16,776, that does not include work on the sphere of influence, correct? And there's no money left on that either, or is there?
Yeah, that would include the sphere of influence work as well, because that's all tied into the work that we have to
MSR.
do with LAFCO, yeah.
Okay, so that 16,000 is what you anticipated, including the sphere of influence, remapping that.
Correct.
So yeah, so I think for now the 30,000 would be adequate.
We made some progress.
thank you. Can we move on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, letter G, discussion and vote on claims and payouts.
I have an update.
Tiffany, please take the floor.
Thank you. So I just wanted to confirm, we did receive the check from D. Jesper and Associates for $4,000 and change, and that was to reimburse us for the TA funds that we paid in advance. And we also did pay Young Wooldridge the $1180 that we were just discussing in advance. And Self-Help sent a check to Young Wooldridge. They confirmed they received it. They're just going to wait their 10-day period for the funds to clear, and they plan to turn around and cut us a check.
Excellent.
And claim 8 went out and is in progress.
Lawrence said that at the last meeting, he said that he had just
Looked
he had
at it.
approved it. So he just hasn't sent it out yet, but from what he said, it was approved already.
Okay, and claim 9, we decided we were going to include July and August, and then in September would be a monthly claim.
Yeah,
Isn't it June and July? And
That's
then
what-
September and August?
I'm not.
that's what it was. June and July. June and July would go in one claim, in claim 9, and then August would go in claim
10.
10.
And so starting in August, we're going to be monthly.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Just double checking on that.
All right. Number 5, discussion vote on.
You should note the time.
I have through 6:39 as the current time. Thank you. Discussion vote and update on FPPUD meter replacement project and emergency replacement well and water supply. Letter A, discussion vote on project funding agreement.
Okay.
So we needed to,
So we need to approve this contract. And the only thing that, and it doesn't change anything, but I was noticing that we need to have a resolution authorizing the agreement and identifying the authorized representative by title. And we also have to have the opinion of council.
Yeah, we were waiting on that. So Tiffany was supposed to remind Alan of the fact that we needed him to look that over, and we were also reminded by Lawrence that if we make changes on this, that it pushes the funding further out. So that it's pretty boilerplate. So if we found issues, we need to really make sure that they're issues that need to be addressed.
I didn't find it.
So did Tiffany, did you talk to Alan about this?
I did. I reminded him, he responded back on Tuesday and just asked me to resend him the information, which I did. And that is the last I have heard. But he
Okay.
must be working on it.
And Lawrence did tell us if we needed an extension, that we just need to let him know.
But that just delays our
No,
funding.
I know, but a short extension because the attorney isn't done with it. So, yeah, I mean, we don't want to do that, but I believe it needs to be overnighted on the 28th. So that's pretty soon.
Well, I mean, we need to do yeah. And the issue is really, we need to approve the agreement tonight.
We can't approve the agreement. Our
Yes.
attorney has to look it over.
Well, we have to approve it, and then on the contingency that Alan says it's okay, because it's all boilerplate financial agreement, and if we don't have it approved already, we're going to wind up being
If you look at number 4,
$4 million.
Well,
If
we also don't have a resolution for this.
I will draft the resolution. Hopefully I can base it off one we've done in the past.
So I think we may have to, unfortunately, have a special meeting to approve it because we need to have that resolution, I believe, before we.
Okay, here's what the
approve it.
conditions say. Number 4, conditions precedent to this agreement are set forth as follows. A, the recipient must deliver to the division a resolution authorizing this agreement and identifying its authorized representative by title. Okay, so that's where we need to approve this agreement. B, the recipient must deliver an opinion of general counsel satisfactory to the State Water Board Council dated on or after the date that the recipient signs this agreement. In other words, we can approve the agreement and sign the agreement, and the opinion of general counsel can be dated after the date of the agreement.
With what resolution? There's nothing in this that says anything about a resolution.
But can't you approve the resolution? And I'm sure we've done one just like this before, and it just needs to have the information plugged into it, and then you get to have, like you or somebody look it over and then sign it. So we could have it all done and not have to have a special meeting in the last week.
Well, I don't think
we have to have the resolutions are a little bit different. I'm wondering if they all have to have a vote on the resolution.
Yeah, you have to have a vote on the resolution, so I don't know what everybody's talking about
It
because
has to be a roll call.
All right.
Well, we're just in this discussion, Ms. Schoenberg. We're just trying to talk about it to try to get it, because it's been impressed on me by multiple people this last week that we have to pass this, we have to get it going, or we're going to potentially lose $4 million. So I'm just passing on what I've been told.
We're not going to lose $4 million. That's not what Lawrence said. Lawrence said that the funding agreement was already in place, agreed on, that if we needed a small extension for the attorney, that we could do that, but we need to talk to him. He said nothing about us losing money.
I don't remember him saying that. But Dave, have you got any opinion on how soon we got to get this thing into him?
I would get it in. Otherwise, that it's something that's, they want you to turn around real quick. So they sent it June 30th and they want it within 30 days, 30 calendar days. So it's a short time. So you can ask for an extension, but I wouldn't delay.
Right, but we're not gonna like vote on a resolution we don't have in front of us, nor do we have it on the agenda.
Right, you don't have a resolution prepared. It might be wise to wait for that preparation, review by the attorney, and everything's kosher, and then get it approved and then sent in.
So we need to have a board meeting on Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah,
I don't know if you'll have a resolution approved by then. You could ask, alternatives, you could ask an extension to in 2 weeks or more, 3 weeks. I mean, after the next board meeting, after this one.
That makes sense. It's just really nerve-wracking for me because although Lawrence may have said that, when everything I've heard from them is they want this sooner rather than later. So it's a little scary that we may get passed up on our turn for money. But I guess if you heard him say that we could get an extension, I guess we can.
Yeah, that's not what I heard him say, nor did, I also heard him say that we could move forward on bidding and everything because that money, the 10% is already in place to be refunded. What's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, I'm tired. Anyway.
well, how long does it take to get a resolution together?
Not very long, but we're
I mean,
not.
I can have it drafted Thursday, if you were talking special meeting a week from now.
But then we're already past the date.
But you need to have the attorney, you need to have the attorney also. This is all contingent on the attorney saying everything's okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything for a resolution here, though. Did Lawrence say he wanted a resolution?
It says it here on the second page of the contract. It says,
Yeah, we just forgot.
condition precedent proceeding to the agreement are set forth. Recipient must deliver to the division a resolution authorizing this agreement and identifying its authorized representative by title.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Lake of the Woods just went through that resolution and the letter from the attorney they went through that process. So.
Yeah, and so
But-
did Pinion Pines did the same. But Lake of the Woods had their attorney draft a resolution, but Pinion Pines didn't. So, Tiffany, if you want like a sample of what somebody did, then I could probably send you something.
That would be
But-
great, Carlos, and then I can just look through our previous resolutions and see if we've done this before. But both would be great.
What did Alan give any indication of when he thought he might be done with it?
He did not email me back after I resent him the information.
So
What's that agreement called that we're talking about right now?
Legal opinion for the funding agreement.
I'm gonna send Alan an email right now.
opinion of general counsel. That's what it's called, Johnny.
Okay.
Can we leave that and come back to it? We get our,
Personally, I think we should ask for an extension till Monday the 2nd so that we could have a special meeting on Thursday to approve.
got that, Johnny?
Yeah. Well, I'm not asking for I'm not asking for an extension on this email. I'm just simply asking if he's available right now to tell us when he's going to be done with his legal opinion on it.
Right, no, I'm not saying we ask him for an extension. I'm saying we need to send something to Lawrence or talk to Lawrence. Lawrence had already mentioned it when we had the state meeting.
I have a question on this.
Director
is-
Kelly,
yeah.
please.
The eligible construction start date is March 22nd of 2021. That's on the first page. Why is that date there?
What that means, Terry, is that we're eligible for being reimbursed for monies up to 10% of the project after that date. So if we had started construction before that date, we would not be able to be reimbursed. But because
Okay.
we're going to go out to bid after that date, we're able to be reimbursed up to 10%. So if we start the bidding process now and we're paying, whatever monies are paid out initially, up to 10% of the full project, not just the well,
Yeah.
we're able to be reimbursed.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
We waiting on Dowd, Johnny?
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna respond necessarily, but if he does, then we'll go back to it, we'll revisit it.
Okay.
Okay, so who's gonna take care of sending an email to Lawrence saying we need an extension? Because no one can drop the ball on this or we're screwed.
Anybody wanna chime in on that, or do you want me to try to ask him if we can get an extension?
Well, can I believe we should listen back to the minutes, or do you have that in the minutes, Tiffany? Or listen back to that recording, because he said specifically how to do it. I believe he did say we could send an email, but I don't remember exactly what that entailed.
Since I have the recording, I will, and I'm working on the minutes, they're not done yet. I'll go back, listen to it. I can draft an email or a sample letter and then send it for okays. So send it, Carlos, ad hoc committee, Johnny.
Yeah, that's fine.
And hello?
Hello, go ahead, Dave.
The contact person up there, in addition to Lawrence, I would also send it to the contact person, Maria Nanka at the State Water Resource Control Board, because that's where all this stuff is being sent to. And so as I would not only ask Lawrence, I would also ask Maria, notify her that you need more time on the cover letter.
You don't think that that's gonna annoy Lawrence?
No, they're all part of it, and she's the contact person that you're supposed to overnight the contract to. So
Okay.
both Lawrence and Maria, I would not ignore Lawrence, but send it to Lawrence and Maria.
Do you have that, email and stuff?
Yeah, the email's in the cover letter.
Yeah, I have that.
So if we have to put it on a cover letter, can you draft that on Monday and we'll try to send it to him?
I'll listen to what Lawrence said, I'll draft it, and then I'll send a draft email for everybody to okay. And then
Well, it
once I
needs
get the
to
go-ahead.
go out Monday because the 27th is the date.
It seems to me that if we just set a Tuesday or Wednesday to have a special meeting to approve this, we'll push Alan to get his legal opinion done. Tiffany could have the resolution done. We could get it all passed and finalized and overnighted and have it all done instead of having to go through the extension period and hoping that we get a positive answer, because otherwise we're going to be left trying to scramble to get a date set next week for a last minute board meeting.
I mean, I personally would rather have a Monday night special meeting.
Well, Monday night might be a problem simply because Alan, if he's not done with it yet, if we could send him an email now and say, look, we need it by Tuesday night, maybe he'll get it done in time for us.
But Tuesday night, that's the deadline for them to get the contract. So you still have to notify them.
No, the
Or we won't
contract
have
is, I thought the deadline was the 30th.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe
The deadline's Friday. We just have to be able to have time to overnight it to him, I thought.
You better double check
Well,
that.
it's 30 days.
It's 30
It should be,
days
It's
right?
from
30
the
days
date.
from when it was drafted.
And it was
Right,
the
but-
28th, I believe, was the date
Yeah,
of the contract.
somewhere in the
Isn't it right on that document you got in front of you, Brahma, doesn't it have the date on there when it's due?
No,
Well, the date of the letter from the state board is June 30th. And it says no later than 30 days from the date of this letter.
Right, but I recall specifically reading something that said July 28th. I don't remember where that was.
okay, well, let's do the 27th. I'm okay with that. You have that letter, Dave, that says 30 days from the date of this letter?
Yeah. Do you want to send it to everybody?
Yeah, if you would, please.
Trying to go over the financial agreement that we got sent back for the $4 million.
Okay, Johnny's on the phone with a lawyer right now.
So they said, they thought that you had said that it was kind of request, we could get a short extension for that.
Might be one.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
sending
holding-
it to four. I just sent it out to 4 people, the ad hoc, Tiffany and Johnny. And if Tiffany, could you forward that to the remaining board members? Because otherwise it'll take forever for me to do that.
Yeah, I think Johnny has Lawrence on the phone.
Oh, my bad. Sounds like Johnny's speaking to Lawrence himself. Clarify this for us right now.
All right, well, we'll do it. Thank you very much for calling me on your off hours. All right, Lawrence, you have a good day. All right, bye.
Okay, Johnny.
Okay, so Lawrence said that if we respond to the email that sent the agreement, and respond to all, and tell them that we need like 5 days or 10 days to get our legal opinion back from the attorney, that he doesn't see any problem with that happening. So he said just to make sure that we respond to that email, so everybody that was on that email is included on it.
Is that clear?
Okay.
Who has that email?
Well, it's just whoever's on that the email. Yeah, so got to see where it's even at. I got to find it.
So he said ask for 5 days?
He said 5, or if that's what you think we can do, or 10.
We'll know after we speak to Alan Dowd, right?
Yeah.
I still think we should think about doing a meeting on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to that.
Fine with me. That sounds good.
Yeah, because the letter does say 30 days from the late calendar days from the date of the letter, which was 30 June. So that will be 30 July.
Except for some weird reason on something, I don't know where we saw that
Well,
date.
the agreement was on I think the actual agreement said the 28th, but what's important is what the letter says.
Yeah.
Well,
So we have to get it to them by no later than Friday.
have you got that email, Tiffany?
I'd have to go to my other computer.
Yeah, I mean, not right this second, but you.
Yeah, I have the original email.
Next Friday, right? Okay. So we good on that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we need to decide. I think we should have a special board meeting on Tuesday.
I'll entertain a motion to,
I'll make a motion that we have a special board meeting to approve the resolution and contract and an opinion of general counsel on this on the drinking water construction grant agreement SWRCB 000000000D 2002-051.
on
for the Fraser Park Public Utility District Meter Replacement Project Emergency Well Supply Project. Project number 1510007-002C.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so a second
Okay,
for,
wait, before you guys go forward, I'm sorry, I was on mute and nobody was listening and I was talking. So not your fault. I believe that we should add that special meeting also be able to include any other material we need, because we may want to add stuff for the bid. We're probably going to have other things that we need to add as far as going out to bid and that sort of thing on that same project. So I had a couple questions on the document itself, so that way if there's any other questions or any
I
problems.
accept that friendly amendment.
Okay, thank you.
Do you, Director Gibson?
Yes.
okay, roll call directors. Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 5-0-0, motion carried.
We didn't state a time though. Is that going to be at 6 p.m.?
6 p.m.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I may not be able to attend that meeting. I can try, but I don't know for sure.
Thank you.
We will still have a
Duly
quorum.
noted. Okay, letter B, discussion vote on plans and specifications for well 7. I did not see. Yeah. Mr. Jasper? This is Jasper. Oh, there he is.
I
Send them
I-
out. I'm just waiting for comments from the board.
Yeah, I have one question, which I don't know if it's relevant or not. I'm a little concerned because the name on the plans and specs and on the bid and everything else, it's only talking about the well. Are we able to do that? Are you sure? Like, I know we can separate going out to bid on it, but is there something that needs to be in parentheses that it's a larger project? Or, I mean, I'm just double checking that that's going to be
It should be finally, so all the bid form shows exactly what the work is supposed to be. And so the title is fine. The scope of the work is well defined.
right, but in order to get reimbursement for anything we do, doesn't it have to say something about the project as a whole?
You could have it as a phase 1 of the, and you give the proper title name of the meter and well replacement title, which is a pretty lengthy title, but you could have, well 7, well 5 replacement number 7, phase 1 of, and you could list the whole project name on the cover. That's all, for reference.
Yeah, I just want to kind of be safe that we don't do something that then creates a problem.
We can do that.
Okay. Is that all?
I had sent some very marginal comments. One was about the meter for the well, and the other one was just, I didn't know if the piping needed to be covered, that the exposed piping needed to be some type of weather, prevention from freezing or anything like that. So.
Yeah, good point, Dave. I'll take a look at what we have there. I think we do need to do something. I don't know whether we have a heat trace that we should put on there or not. So I'll take a look at that. And then also, what was your other comment?
I know there's a meter proposed and it's in the same project. I guess you're gonna be getting the radio read meters or the new fancy meters. And would you be able to just use like the meter from the existing well 5? And then when you get the whole meter project in place, you could install the AMI meter or the radio read meters for the wells as well as your others.
Well, couldn't we just credit that off the other one and go ahead and get a good meter right now at the beginning of the service life of this thing?
I thought that the state said that they would only pay for residential meters and not commercial. Does that include our wells themselves? Because when we did a meter count, they made us separate the commercial from the residential.
Right, but the well handles residential, so I don't think that is true because they said even if it was a commercial building with a residence within it, that we could count the residential part of that.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm saying I'm not sure, but I would think that it would not be the well, but I'm not positive.
You know, they're going to pay for the entire project, and we're not going to bill them for a meter for that well when we do the meter replacement project. I don't see that there's a conflict.
Okay. How about?
But you would want radio read well meters on the well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, C, discussion, vote, update on going out to bid for well 7.
I had do we have the same issue with this going out to bid where, I mean, it's just in the wording, there was just a couple spots where it said his, and it doesn't this have to be open to anyone, and thus we probably don't want the word his in there.
You know, we use this, we've probably used this 50 times.
I know.
We have about 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 projects being built right now
Okay.
on that specification.
Then
And we haven't had any issues with the specification or the wording of the specification at all.
Okay. 'Cause I
The
didn't ignore anything else.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up is that progress report, we have to do quarterly progress reports beginning no later than 90 days after the execution of this agreement. So once we sign this agreement, we have to provide a progress report with each reimbursement request.
There won't be any problem from the standpoint of construction, Brahma, because we do a monthly progress estimate every month. And so, you know, it'll just be part of we'll add all 3 of them up at the end of the 3rd month.
Right. But I think also once we approve the agreement, we have to see what costs were done prior that we can get reimbursement for. And so we need to maybe do a progress report on that and submit those bills.
Oh, we can do that.
Because I don't want those ones that we were looking for reimbursement for to be later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I think we'll look back, you know, the test well specs and plans were paid through the county of Tulare. So that part of it, you know, is already
right. I'm just saying, I just don't know what other expenses that we had that need to be, that we're going to ask for reimbursement for. And so that's something we need to keep in mind.
Yeah. Is there anything that the district, are there any expenses that the district needs to include on a quarterly report? You know, we could do one right at the very beginning, you know, capturing everything in arrears. kind of up to what the board wants to do.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't know, and I don't know if we've kept expenses that we've spent on this well that we might be eligible for reimbursement for.
The only thing I could see that we might be eligible for would be the lowering of the bills, but I don't think so because we know that the other stuff, the other repairs we're not eligible for.
Yeah.
You know, we could check that, Lisa, and, you know, maybe there is some reimbursement for that. Want me to check with Lawrence?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be something that he would include or not,
Okay.
because it's not really on the new well, it's on the old well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, let's move on to D, discussion vote on claims and payouts.
There aren't any claims or payouts yet.
At this time, thank you very much. Number 6, discussion vote on emergency repairs to the Wolf booster and tank site.
Oh, can I, before we go on, we didn't vote on the plans and specs. Were we gonna approve those plans and specs so he could get ready to go out to bid?
I'll entertain that motion.
I'm asking a question. Do you have a problem with it?
Or do
I
you
do
want
not.
to put, I mean, there were a couple of things that Dave brought up, so do we want to wait until the special meeting, or
Well,
it's a couple
okay,
days from now?
okay, let's do this. Let's add this, add this on to the special meeting. And D, would you please check out the couple things? Because, you know, the only difference, because I reviewed all the specs before, the difference is it's the same specs that you changed from USDA verbiage to state, correct?
Yeah, we actually, yeah.
Because we've extensively went over this. I know that me and Lisa extensively went over this when we had the USDA over a year ago.
Right.
Can we just pass it with the correction that was mentioned already about the heading, the title?
Can we, just so we can look at, I just want to make, so you are, I mean, are you able to just change the title and not change it in the body?
Just do on the cover page.
Yeah, we can, if we just need to change the cover page, that's pretty simple operation. You know, their title of a number of the bid documents are pretty specific to well 7. So,
I mean, 'cause yeah, everywhere in this, it says well number 5 replacement project, well number 7.
Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty clear. So I think the first page.
you know, we could add a page in just right behind the cover page that actually explains, you know, what it is we're doing and what portion of the meter replacement well replacement project we're doing.
That's what I would do, because I'm concerned if we go out to bid and we start moving before we actually have money in hand, I just want to make absolutely sure that we're able to be reimbursed for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to like have all of a sudden have it become, oh, well, you know, you called this something else or you didn't explain it. Is this different from the project? You know, I mean, I don't think that'll happen, but I'm just sort of a crossing the T's and dotting the I's kind of thing.
Yep.
And I got a quick comment, Lisa. I don't know what Lawrence told you guys, but have plans and specs been approved by the state yet?
They've been sent out. I haven't heard anything from Jesse. Probably should ask him today. But they've been sent out to Lawrence and Jesse, Ryan. So yeah, they have gone out.
Because usually they have to be approved before you guys can go out to bid.
So when we make this motion, we can make it contingent upon approval from the state.
Jesse, Lawrence actually referenced this in a comment he made today about discharge to waste on the well. So he has gone over the plans. You could tell by his question today. So I'm sure that we could just send an email and get the yes, he approved them already.
Yeah, it appeared as though he had gone through them already.
And I have another question on the CEQA. Isn't it referenced, it doesn't have the full title of the project, and will that be a problem?
You broke up. I didn't hear what you said.
On the CEQA document, doesn't it have, it's very specific to the full name of the project, correct? So, I mean, I think it's fine. I think if we do the cover page and we do, but I just want to make sure, because that's another reason I'm concerned about it. And maybe having that verbiage that Dee put in there if we're not changing the title, because that's very, I believe that was very specific. I remember going over that with Lawrence and him making sure that we had the exact name of the project. Is that correct, or am I?
Well, it would be, it would be this exact name of the project of what they have on the agreement. Fraser Park Public Utility District Meter Replacement Project, Emergency Well Supply Project number, and you could even put the number 151007-002C. And in parentheses, put project.
And just so you know, today when we met with everybody from the state was 100% behind getting this done and getting that well into the ground. And I'm sure that they just want to work with us and not nitpick too much, because they just want us to get the well in the ground. They're really concerned about the nitrates and moving forward with the well.
So I'd like to move that we place item B and C on the agenda for our special meeting, which is on this Tuesday, the whatever that date is.
27.
And there were, what were you saying that with adding something, Johnny?
I don't remember. I don't think I said anything about adding anything.
I think if you're just going to place it, then we can vote on it on Tuesday. So I would second that motion.
Okay, Director Nyman has seconded. Roll
No,
call, directors.
Actually, will you take a friendly amendment on that? So I'm moving it onto the agenda for the special meeting based on the fact that we're going to make the changes that we discussed this evening.
I accept that friendly amendment.
Okay, the motion has been made, amended, and seconded. Roll call, directors. Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 5-0-0, motion carried.
Okay, so D, you just need to make sure that we have that updated cover page to review on Tuesday night so we can approve it. And if somebody would like to send a email, maybe D, you could send an email to Jesse and Lawrence and ask them for approval. Are they approving the specs for this well 7 project that you sent them?
Okay.
And I think Dee had also said he was going to put a brief inside page from the cover page, just explaining that it's part of a larger project, or, just explaining what
Yeah.
it is.
Right, with the project name.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. This D, letter D, discussion vote on claims and payouts.
There are none.
Thank you. Number 6, discussion vote on emergency repairs to the Wolf booster tank and tank site. Are you, Johnny?
Yeah, I believe they were still just waiting for the roll-up door. I haven't had a chance to get up there to look, but I have not heard back from Curtis that it was installed, so I believe that they're just waiting for that.
That's my understanding as well. Curtis will be back in town tonight.
So, we want to skip that one?
Yeah.
We'll move that over to next planning meeting.
Maybe the board can meet.
Number 8, discussion.
7.
vote on- Oh, yeah. We just talked about, were we gonna do number 7?
Number 7.
Yeah, 7 we saw.
Go to number 7, discussion vote update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency Allocation to Special Districts Grant. A, discussion vote of professional engineering cost proposals, phase 2 and 3.
I have a question.
Director Schoenberg, please.
So I just wanted to know, so the grant itself, it covers the equipment, but does it cover whatever the contractor is going to charge us in installation?
No,
Because right now that's not, okay, so that's not included anywhere that I saw in this cost proposal. It's only showing the all the design and engineering, but if it goes out to bid, aren't we also paying, a contractor, and what are we paying them?
Well, that'll come in on the bid, and then we'll know what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
But shouldn't that be clarified? 'Cause usually, well, okay.
Okay?
Don't we have an idea of what that would be?
What we're doing,
Usually the engineer gives us an idea of what he thinks that the full cost would be.
I don't think we've done that. I'm thinking, we don't know how many wells we're gonna do, because we've just got a limited amount of funds. What I think we can do is put together a cost estimate, maybe for the ones that we think we might, all of them, and that would probably be the maximum amount that, each well site would cost. And then we have to combine that with the cost of the generators, right? So, I mean, it's not a grant, but I mean, all that goes against the grant funding, right?
Well, I guess that's my question. Does it? Because the grant itself, does it only pay for the generators themselves, or does it pay for?
The grant says, Johnny, the grant says that it doesn't pay for professional services, but when we tried to clarify exactly what that meant, they did not have it. They dodged the question. So my suggestion would be, when we submit for the money, that we include the installation of it, because that's what the quote's going to be for the generator, and have it installed, I would assume, and then submit for that, because they will not answer point blank what it covers and what it doesn't cover. I suspect that with this amount of money, we're gonna end up, having to pay out of pocket for, a good portion of it anyway, because we're gonna get the most that we can for the generators, and if somebody just gave them to us, we would still pay to have them installed. So I think we just need to get, as close as we can, and from the bids, submit that to the county.
Right, I just want to have an idea of what that amount might be should they not pay for it, so that we know what we're dealing
Right,
with.
so,
We-
well, we're gonna do it anyway, so, I mean, I think that, what we need to approve here is the professional services for D and engineering, which is, we already know is gonna cost, what, $58,000.
That's just phase, is that total? Hold on.
$58,984 is the total cost for the electrical design plans and specs from D Jasper and Electrical Power Systems.
But I think we were just going to approve phases 1 and 2, which was prepare the plans and specs and the bid support, and then wait until we know exactly how many of these sites we're going to do to approve phases, I think 3 and 4. I don't have that in front of me right now, but I think that's what we did a couple of meetings ago.
I think we already approved phase 1.
Well, I believe it was to go out to bid too. That's what we discussed at the time. But just as a side note, my recommendation to the board would be to buy as many generators as we can, because apparently the way the grant is written, they don't have to be installed. They have to be purchased by a set date. So if we buy as many generators as we can for the sites that we need, if we need to go ahead and pay for installation, we could do that slowly over time. Get as many as we can for the money that we have, and then decide what we're going to do with the last 1 or 2.
Right, but I would also like to know how much the installation is going to be. This is.
Well, it's going to be hard to know that till we go out to bid and they bid it, because they have to come out and all look at it and know what it's going to take, because we're going to have concrete slabs, we're going to have the electrical that has to be run, hooked up to the SCADA, all of that stuff, and we're not going to know till they bid it.
I have a question.
Well, the electrical you already know, because he has phase 3 down here, which is construction and management and inspection. It's $3,500 from Electrical Power Systems, and 14.
I meant beyond what Dee's guess was. We're not going to know exactly what it is until they actually say something. Because right now the price of everything has gone through the roof too. Even from a month ago, it's gone up.
Yeah, the cost of generators have gone up.
Cost of everything across the board.
Director Gibson,
Yeah.
did you have a question?
What was my question? Oh, yeah. Once they give us the money, Kalos, do you think at that point they might have this, like, in order to get this money, you're signing that you're going to have them installed by so-and-so? Or would they, what
We
they
have
said
the
before?
money. We have
They've
the money.
already given us the cash. They gave us the money already.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Can I ask you a question?
the money's currently in one of our reserve accounts.
The SLA
Thank you.
account.
Thank you.
So we
And
already
when does it
approved
have
phase
to be
1.
spent by? When do we have to have this?
The money has to be spent by the end of March 31st, I think it is.
22.
Yeah, it's 2022.
And believe it or not, with the holdup and everything, supplies, the sooner we get things ordered, the sooner we may get them before the deadline.
Right,
Yeah.
but so I have some questions though. So who orders those generators? The contractor, and so that they bid on them? So then how are they, if we're getting, I just have some questions that aren't really being answered.
The district would purchase them, and then the bid by the contractor would be for the installation.
So the
So we need to
suppliers
do
for the
research
generators,
on,
so the suppliers for the generators would bid on the price of the generators, and then we would decide which ones to buy. Is that correct, Dee?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay?
So who'd
Do we
pay
know-
for the generators? Who'd buy them?
We would buy them. The district would purchase them.
Okay.
And then it would.
but do we know what size generator we need at each site?
Oh, please.
That's why Dee spec'd them all out, and the electrical engineer spec'd them all out. That's what phase one was.
Okay.
So that's already done.
Correct.
So we're working on phase 2 and 3?
Yeah, we need to go out to bid, so you need to approve officially. I don't know if we got an official approval for phase one. We said go ahead and do it. So you need to officially approve phase one, officially approve phase 2 so we could go out to bid. Then when we get those back in, then we'll decide on phase 3 and the contractors to install them.
They did vote on phase 1.
Oh, you did approve phase 1?
Phase 1 was approved.
Okay, so we need to approve phase 2.
Right, but where in phase 1 is it telling us what, I mean, so we have to work on that? The engineer is not giving us that in the
No,
preparation?
the engineer's putting it out to bid in phase 2. He spec'd out what we need. Phase 2 is putting it out to bid so we can get the information on which ones we're gonna buy.
So there are two separate bids? There's a bid for the contractor to install and a bid for the generators themselves, because I'm not
Yeah.
seeing that.
Dee?
Yeah, there, we would solicit prices from suppliers, the generator suppliers, and then select the generators, that supplier that we want. And then, that would be a separate, process, I guess you might say.
Because it doesn't really say that. I mean, and it's really hard for me to read what you have because it's so small, but I didn't see that it specifically says that anywhere.
Well, I think the assumption was, I gotta find that. The assumption was that we would have suppliers bid on the generators themselves and then select the supplier. This would be a supply contract. And then we would then bid out the installation of the generators, and that would be a separate contract.
Yeah, because the whole issue behind it was getting the generators purchased, which we know for sure the grant's gonna pay for. The installation has always been in question because of the professional services clause in the grant. So we want to get the generators purchased and on site before the deadline so we could account for the money.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just a little confused in where it says the bidding phase, because it doesn't really break that up into two things, Johnny. It
Okay.
just talks about job walks, it talks about responding to RFIs and all that, but I take that to be the contractor, not the generator. So I'm just wondering where in this whole process do the generators happen? And is the doing that, and is that accounted for in the money that they've set forth here?
Yeah, we were focused on installation, as I recall, of the generators, not on the purchase of the generators. But that is that's a purchase, a purchase type situation where you don't need a complete set of specifications as you would for the installation. And we could prepare those. I think, I'm not quite sure what we have right now, but we could prepare those, just a simple bid request from suppliers to supply, how many ever generators we want them to price for us, and a price for each one, so we could just buy the number that we can afford.
Well, I mean, the reason I'm asking this is that on a on a usual contract that we've done with everything, a lot of times the contractor is bringing in is providing those items as part of contracting the work. So they would,
That's
that's,
right, Lisa. That,
huh?
that's the normal, that is correct.
Right. So I'm a little concerned just about the way it's written.
That's the normal situation, but in this case, in those situations, the contractor adds a markup to the materials that he provides.
Right.
And so in this case, we don't want that because we'd be, we wouldn't be able to purchase as many generators because the contractor would then add whatever it is they decide their markup's gonna be.
Or
Might be
30% or 40% or something, yeah.
So, so in order to maximize our funds and the impact of them, we need to have a separate supply contract. So we don't have to pay that markup that the contractor would put on it.
And that's fine. I just want to make sure that that's happening so that, and that we have the correct specs and we're getting the correct generators, and that there isn't going to be any problem when we go out to, so wouldn't we be doing that before we go out to bid for the contract?
Well, you already did that. That's phase one.
It's not in phase one, the generator.
No, Dee already told us which ones we need.
Well,
it says generator manufacturers, but.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, Dee. The engineering, design, and preparation of plans, when you did that, you have already determined what size generators and what generators we need.
well, let me,
Explain it a little further, please.
I'm not sure I can explain it because I'm not sure exactly what went into the generator purchase. What I understand we did and what we were tasked with is to design the electrical, and that would be, then it would specify the generator size and the components that would be needed for that. And then that's part of the design, but and so I haven't looked at it. We probably need to cover this on the next meeting so I can get up to speed, because I don't think I'm ready to talk about that because I haven't looked at that for a while. But what I think we did is we specified the size for each one of these plants and the installation of the cables and the controls that would be needed in order to hook that generator up. But I don't think we put together a generator specification. In other words, we want, this type of an engine, this type of, there's different qualities of generators you get. And I don't think we've done that.
I thought that's what Joe Prevender was going to do, was spec out the generators themselves.
Did he? Okay. So
that was my understanding, that's what he was going to do, was spec out the generators that had to be purchased. I mean, not the brand, but the specs on it.
Okay, I'm just not up to speed on it, Johnny.
Well, yeah, let's table it till Tuesday,
Yeah,
because Curtis will be back by then, and he'll.
yeah, he's handled that project, so I'm a little bit sketchy.
Okay, so can you make a note to talk to Joe Prevender and make sure that we have the information and that he has spec'd out what we need, so that,
Well, Curtis is going to know that as well.
Well, that's fine, but I'm asking him to make a note so that he gets up to speed, so when we have our meeting.
So we'll carry over all of number 7 to Tuesday's meeting.
Perfect.
And then I'll include in the board packets for Tuesday's meeting the new information that was just sent to us from Cal OES about more requirements, but that'll be in the packet for Tuesday.
Okay, good, thank you. Number 8, discussion vote on pipeline replacement project.
Wait, before we move on. Hello?
Go
Wait,
ahead, Director Schoenberg.
before we move on Tuesday,
ahead.
will we also be able to see if electrical power systems spec that out? Like right now, we have nothing, like no, like it says what we're paying for stuff, but I don't see what we're actually getting. I don't see the engineering design or preparation of plans.
Yeah,
So are
I
you
have-
saying you already have that and that we're ready to go out to bid, or are we just talking about two as a possibility?
I don't know, Lisa. I'm gonna have to get up to speed, but I'll be up to speed at the next meeting.
Okay, so yeah, I think we need that as well. I think we need not just the price that we're paying for these things, but what we're actually paid for, so that we can go, so that and whether you're helping us do you as in your company, or whether it's the electrical power systems is actually helping us to go out to bid on the generators themselves, not just the contractor.
Correct.
Okay. Number 8, discussion vote on pipeline replacement project. A, discussion review of the pre-construction engineering budget and scope of work.
I believe part of that, Dave had sent us some stuff too. Self-help may be able to help us as long as it's part of the safer funds to help us with the potholing and the identifying the pipeline needs to be replaced. Is that correct, Dave?
Right. I understood, and Carlos, correct me if I'm wrong, but I understood that this was going to be made a safer project, part of the, because it's a consolidation incentive project. And you folks need that money up front to determine where the pipeline stuff is. And there's a potential source of funds from the state self-help technical assistance funds, a safer project funds. And then recently we got wind that DWR is willing to contribute some money towards the pipeline replacement also. And we just threw out a ballpark $10 million. But you really need to get the pipelines located. And as Dee put out, I think a draft letter in May, was it Dee, that you basically updated the costs, and it was a pretty extensive letter on what you needed to do to get those pipelines located.
$289,000.
Right. So I don't know if DWR would come up with that money. Self-help might be able to be dipped into that for that money for safer funds. You have a TA request for our assistance that was on hold until we could get safer funds. We now have safer funds, and it's maybe time to push the envelope with getting another work plan approved just for the pipeline project, so that we could use safer funds and help you get funds to replace that pipeline and get the application in.
But I'm sorry, Dave, the safer funds would allow us to pothole, or the DWR funds would allow us to, so where is the potholing money coming from? Because do the safer funds need to come after the potholing? Because to put an application in, don't we need to have all that information already?
Oh, self-help has money from safer projects. So that now we have a renewed pot of money for technical assistance, so we can pay for locating those pipelines. And that's initially what you need in order to put in a decent proposal on what you need to replace and where.
Right. So you have money now for the potholing and the the mapping.
So
Right.
who needs to submit what?
A technical assistance request was submitted last November 2019. And it needs to be followed up with the state with an update. But you also need to check in with Joe Hyde, the new manager for self-help in Kern County. about getting that looking at that technical assistance, seeing if we have adequate funding, and see if we can go forward with that technical and get that technical assistance request approved finally.
What is her name again, Dave? The new lady, the new manager.
Joseph Hyde,
Oh.
Heide.
Sorry about that. You don't know. Perfect.
I think he was on the ad hoc call last week.
Oh, that's right.
So,
So we'll carry this over or what?
That's the next one.
I mean, I would just recommend if you folks want to either push or resubmit that technical assistance request so that it's more updated based on Dee's letter.
Can you help us with that, Carlos?
Yeah, I was on mute, sorry, yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Number 9, discuss and vote on community water system COVID relief program. Are you, Johnny?
No.
That was Oscar.
Well, basically, that's just, like I mentioned before, it's money that will help pay for any customer that's fallen behind on their bills. It'll help pay for their bills, for their water bills. But the state hasn't figured out exactly how they're going to do that. So they just wanted systems to submit forms 204, 205 just to be in the system. So when it does happen, it'll be a lot smoother and easier to get funding out.
So is this, Oscar, is this the same as, is that Oscar or Carlos?
This Carlos.
Oh, Carlos, is that the same, sorry, is that the same as what we did before? Because we did get some monies for exactly that same sort of relief, and I don't know, that came from you folks before, right? So this is kind of the same thing, but we have to fill out some new forms?
I
believe
don't
that
know what
came
you guys
from,
did before, but maybe that came from self-help fund money that they had. I'm not sure.
I think that came from an anonymous donor, wasn't it?
No,
Self-help.
Because I know self-help had money before that could help.
No, it was from self-help, as far as I understood.
So if it came from self-help, we had a pot of money to help
Anonymous.
customers pay for their water bill, for their past due water bills, and they actually bundled some funds to where they can pay, because usually it was just for an individual person, but they were able to bundle funds to pay for a few people in a mutual or a CSD or whatever. So that's probably the way it was done. But this is actually money that's going to come from the state, not from self-help.
Okay, so do we have those forms, Tiffany? 204
That's
and
what's in your
205?
packet.
Did I skip that somewhere?
Oh, is that what that payee thing is?
Payee data records.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I thought that was
Yeah,
for something else.
And then also,
So Carlos, I have a question.
yes, sir.
I mean, so is the first page our information? And then you submit because then it has a whole bunch of additional, like it only has like for 5 remittance at addresses on the form 204. What, I mean, is that you're putting those people's on there, or are you putting their, do you have to fill out one for each address?
I don't think so. I haven't really looked at the forms, to tell you the truth, but I know Lake of the Woods filled those out already, and I know that other mutuals have received this email from the state, and there has been some CSDs and stuff like that have received them as well. So I'm thinking you guys will probably receive an email shortly, but I just wanted to get you guys introduced to this firsthand. So when you do receive the email, or you can do it now before you receive the email, so you can get a head start. But you just have to fill out those forms. I haven't really looked at them, but you have to fill out forms 204 and 205 and submit them.
Right, they seemed kind of like we needed maybe some help doing that, but so,
I'll look at them and
Tiffany,
I can get with Tiffany and discuss that.
yeah, did you understand what to put in here, Tiffany?
No, I haven't looked over the forms.
Okay, well, we'll wait to hear from Carlos, and we'll get those filled out.
And also, maybe it'd be helpful if we can look at what Lincoln Woods did to see, since they already filled it out and submitted it. Is there a deadline on this, or is there?
No, there's not a deadline on it, but I think the sooner you do it, the better.
Better. So are Lake of the Woods? Oh, Pam's still on here. Pam, can you, or Joan, do you have those forms where we could take a look at them?
Yeah, our forms are already done for both companies, and I've already gotten a reply saying, get this stuff together. It's not ready to be released, but we'll need, and there's a whole list of things that they'll need.
So on the additional remittance address information, did you provide separate extended pages or only those 5?
So which form are you looking at? All we did was fill out form 204 and 205. You're talking about the COVID relief, right?
Form 205, so it has additional remittance address information. So that would be.
Oh, no, because you want it would all come to us.
It would all come to us. So
yeah.
So this doesn't have. Okay, I see. I was misreading it. So this doesn't have anything yet for who would be covered by this. We're just filling out basically who the money goes to and what what kind of organization we
To
are.
our organization.
Basically, they want to know your tax ID number, your company's name, and who the president is, who's the signing authority, and then who their contacts is with emails and phone numbers.
Okay.
They just want everything set up, ready to go, so that when they get the funds, they can transfer it in. And I'm like, show me the money.
Right.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so we'll be filling those out and sending them in.
So Tiffany,
Number 10.
you're going to take a look at those and fill those out?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Number 10.
Tiffany will work on that together.
Thanks, Johnny.
She's got a lot of stuff going on too. So
Good job, Tiffany.
Peter will do it.
Thank you.
You could always call Pam if you have any questions.
Excuse me, can we go on?
Sure. Whenever you like.
State update meeting minutes for 7/15/2021.
Table.
I don't believe we have those.
We're gonna table those.
So
I'll entertain a motion, take a quick 10-minute break. Okay, hearing nothing, I'll have to excuse myself to use the restroom. I'll be back.
You guys don't need me no more, right?
No, we're done. What time is it?
We always
What
need
time is
you.
it?
We always need you, Carlos. But you're free to go.
Thank you,
All right.
Carlos.
All right.
Is
Thank
it
you, guys.
7:54?
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you.
We already
Hey,
did
bye.
that, Terry.
Have a good night.
Okay.
Thank you.
In fact, I don't think we need Dave anymore. I mean, D.
Nope.
He went
He's out
down the
there right now
hallway.
anyway.
He went down the hallway.
Well, so we didn't motion for a break, but we're taking a break anyway.
I'm gonna go, you gotta go. Okay, on to new business. Number 14, discussion vote on reforming and combining ad hoc committees.
Oh yeah, did we table the financial? Yeah, sorry. Apologize.
Anyone want to comment on the ad hoc committees and reforming them?
Right, so the issue, and I'm gonna speak to this, but I won't be able to vote on it or make a motion. So I'm, because I'm on the ad hoc committees that I'm speaking of. So the issue is that I need to go over a bunch of stuff with our bookkeeper. And because Brahma has been very involved in paying the bills also, he has quite a bit of information that I really need, but right now I can't discuss certain things because it crosses over on the budgeting side of things, and that's a separate ad hoc. So it's kind of weird right now because, okay, there's issues that are going to come up that I can't really talk about, that I'm talking about Director Nyman, but then I would have to relate that to Director Garcia, but then I'm not really able to make decisions with Director Nyman on it. So it's just kind of funky right now. So I'm proposing that we reform and combine anything that has to do with financials and just leave that as an ad hoc committee, because right now we need to do a whole lot of work with Linda on multiple items. So rechecking the last 3 months, checking to see new, there were some suggestions made for reclassifying things and making sure that that's okay and not going to be problematic on our budget that we did, the 5-year budget. Checking, all kinds of checking of the financials, which right now there is no ad hoc, but Director Nyman and I have been doing it every month for quite a long time now. But it's not, and now we're going to need to meet with Linda, like actually meet with Linda and do that before the meeting. And there's no ad hoc.
The day before the meeting.
Yeah, so because right now we've been spending hours on that and not getting paid anything for it every month, twice a month, and it takes quite a long time, and so we're going to be doing that with our bookkeeper rather than having the bookkeeper do it and then we go over it and then we bring it up in the meeting, which was an issue on Linda's letter. So in order to kind of facilitate meeting with Linda, I'm suggesting, and like I said, I can't make a motion on this because I'm part of the ad hoc, but I'm suggesting that we reform and combine those ad hoc committees so that anything financial is just dealt with by the same 2 people. So it's not this weird ping-ponging back and forth thing that I'm going to have to do right now in order to just solve and straighten some things out.
Let me just say this about that. I believe I'm the only other member who's on ad hoc with you with regards to the topic you're speaking about. So with that having been said, I will definitely give up my position to Director Nyman, but I would entertain a motion to put that in words by one of the other directors.
And I don't think it should just be giving, yes, you can give up a position, but I think that ad hoc should be it should just be one ad hoc that deals with all of this stuff, the book asset detail, the budget, the bookkeeping, the financials.
I think your intro described that very well, with anything having to do with our finances, and that's the way I understood it, so.
And Dee, you can say goodnight if you like.
Thanks, Rama. I was in for the whole evening, but you excuse me, I'm willing to go.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you,
for your
Dee.
day as well.
Good night.
Tiffany, Director Kelling, did you, or did
Director
we
Kelling,
ever
go
vote?
ahead.
Did we ever vote to, discontinue the budget committee? The ad hoc, I thought we did.
No, it's a current ad hoc.
It was reformed, so we discontinued it when we did the previous budget, and then it was reformed in order to deal with all of these like reclassification and all that stuff, which Jerry did some work on with, and I was not working on that, but Jerry and Linda had done some work on already, so there is like a chunk of work done on that. It's just hard right now to try to blend all that stuff together without
Yeah.
being a serial meeting.
Okay, the step one we would have to discontinue the budget ad hoc, and then reform a financial ad hoc.
Yeah, I believe so. It would discontinue, let's see, it would be the budget ad hoc and the book asset detail ad hoc, because they would all be combined into one ad hoc.
Okay,
And there is no ad hoc currently for accounts payable financial stuff.
no, that's what we want to create.
Right, but it needs to be able to also touch on all these other aspects.
Okay, but don't we, you and Brummer are on the booked asset.
Correct.
You and Jerry are on the budget. So we got to take those apart before we can recreate one, right?
Yeah, you can dissolve those. Correct.
Okay, so that's what has to be in the motion.
Yeah, that's what I would suggest, but I can't make it or vote on it.
No, well, that's why I'm trying to understand this so I can do that. So,
And so having one ad hoc that's about all,
now, do we need 3 different motions, or can it be one motion? Because if it's one motion, not only could Lisa not vote, but Brahma or Jerry couldn't vote. So then we wouldn't have a quorum.
Three motions, you're correct, Terry.
Okay. Now, okay, I will move that we dissolve the ad hoc for the budget.
I'll second that.
Director Nyman has seconded that. Roll call, directors. Director Gibson.
aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Abstain.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
And Director Garcia is an abstention as well. 3-0-2. Motion carried.
Okay. Now I will move that we dissolve the book asset detail ad hoc.
Do I have a second?
I will second it.
Director Gibson has seconded. Roll call, directors. Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Abstain.
Director Nyman.
Abstain.
Director Garcia is an aye. 3-0-2 abstentions. Motion carried.
Okay.
Can I ask Director, well, mostly Director Schoenberg, but also Nyman, are you comfortable with this level of commitment for an ad hoc? Like, how much are you going to have to, and I know we're going to be talking about the resolution next, but are you comfortable with this level of commitment? Because you were talking about how it was stressful for you.
The problem for me is, the problem for me is we're already kind of doing it, except for the budget part, and then there's no way to consult back and forth because it would be a serial meeting unless, yeah, it's just weird because you can't really talk about why, like they cross over each other, unfortunately. The Director Nyman and I have already not on an ad hoc been, I don't know for how long, for quite a long time since he was treasurer, or since
Way
because
before COVID.
yeah, because I was treasurer and then I was helping him because he became treasurer. And then when I became treasurer again, it's, we've kind of been going over things before every meeting because things, and, and then we our bookkeepers transferred over. So it's been really involved already. And I just don't know how else to do it because now I think we need to sit down so that we're not, questioning everything during the meeting, which was brought up and is not the way to do it. I agree. So we're going to have to do it as some sort of meeting between the bookkeeper and the two of us each time, so that we can actually recognize things
done the day before the meeting, so we have time to do it. We can't be rushing on the day of the meeting to try and do it.
Yeah, I agree. I just I had another question, but
and there is, I mean, yes, it's a lot because the book asset detail has been suffering because frankly, there's so much stuff going on and so many projects and so many things to read that, we haven't really moved forward that much on the book asset detail, but I don't know how we can move forward as a separate ad hoc without, because again, stuff crosses over. It just becomes very complicated. It's already very complicated.
so the other thing I wanted to ask is when you're going to start having meetings with the bookkeeper if this passes, and would you consider that training the bookkeeper? Is that what's really going on?
Not exactly. It's the same thing. So we were questioning all the time with our previous bookkeeper, and she just never really, well, I guess she did complain about it, but we never did anything about it. So basically what happens is that we question everything during the meeting. What would happen is that some of those questions would be answered beforehand so that it doesn't put her on whatever bookkeeper we have on the spot, and sort of where, I mean, same thing that happened with Dee today. Like, sometimes we put people on the spot and they don't have the information they need to be able to even answer it. And so hopefully it would fix some of those things where some of those things would be classified or answered or worked out before it came to the general meeting, and then the general meeting would just like okay everything.
So it's not a matter of training anybody. It's just a matter of learning, what is wanted from the district and how the district wants it to be done.
And the district's still trying to figure it out, frankly, because some of this reclassification we haven't done, so it's, yeah.
Absolutely. And Linda's been very insightful in ways that we can move forward. We just have to learn what we want to do with it.
Okay. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to create a new ad hoc.
Okay. I will move that we create a financial ad hoc consisting of budgets, book assets, financials, bookkeeping,
That's pretty much all of it. Who are you going to name for this ad hoc committee?
Director Schoenberg and Director Nyman.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Director Gibson has seconded the motion. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Abstain.
Director Nyman.
Abstain.
Director Garcia is an aye. 3-0-2 abstentions. Motion carried. Okay, number 15. Discussion and review of resolution FP 202-00813-02.
What do we do with, oh, the
I beg your
financials are
pardon?
at the end. Nothing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you.
You lost me. It's okay.
Number 15, discussion review of resolution FB -202-00813-02 regarding board member compensation. Is anyone ready to address this?
I'm just gonna say if we actually had the financial information ahead of time, then the only thing that would be left to address, because the problem is right now, for instance, we spent an entire day on financials and then a meeting and then a special meeting, and we're only able to be compensated for one meeting. And that's fine, I guess, on the days that we have to have two, unless you guys want to address that. But I mean, I didn't really see any real problems in the resolution. It's just a problem of the fact that we're always kind of doing things at the last minute, and so that creates a problem where everything's happening in one day. I don't know how we would be able to, I mean, the only, because I looked at some other water companies and basically they have the same thing where, and I think that that's part of, I don't know what code that's part of, Tiffany, but it, I think that there's only a specific amount of compensation per day, and then there's only like 10 days per month, correct?
So
Tiffany, would you like to respond to that?
yeah, that's section 16002 of the Public Utilities Act. And I looked back when we created this resolution, I had emailed Alan Dowd. So he cited that section, and it's very specific. So you can have no more than $100 for a day of service, and you can have no more than 10 days of service per month. So there's no wiggle room on that.
Right, because I looked at some other, and I think that that was part of the thing, some other water companies that do like $150, but then they're only doing 6 days per month. So, I
Either
think
that or they're doing it wrong.
It's the answer I got from Alan.
Yeah, they could be doing it wrong as well. and
Well, it
just not
still
know.
totals out to $1,000 maximum for the month.
Right.
But Alan quoted a daily price as well as a monthly price, so they may just not be doing it correctly.
Yeah.
And they may have other, depending on what type of agencies.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just move on.
yeah, they were.
Okay, well, Director Schoenberg, the only thing I could say to that is that if there's possible any wiggle room to separate the 2 days of meetings, if and when you have advance notice, then I don't think there's a problem with you going to the maximum allowed for the month.
Well, that's why we, one thing is we have to.
Director Nyman, would you like to address us?
Yes, that's why I
Great.
was saying that the checking of the financials and the accounts payable and classifications when we're meeting with the bookkeeper has to be at least the day
meeting
before the
before.
meeting. Because
course.
on average, I spend on a board day, I end up spending anywhere from 6 to 10 hours in a day.
Okay, point well taken. Is that something that we can work towards in the future? Linda? Okay, thank you. 1 day sooner than the meeting day.
Yeah, Lisa mentioned maybe on Tuesday, the Tuesday before the meeting,
Okay.
which is perfect with me, the day I'm here, and I'm available anytime.
Okay.
And,
Sounds like there's gonna be, some cooperation from both sides there, Dr. Nyman, and let's hope we can, work it out to everyone's advantage.
So Lisa, are you wanting to change this resolution?
No.
No, I don't think that that we need to change the resolution. I think the issue is more that, I mean, once in a while we have 2 meetings in a row and there's just nothing we're gonna be able to do about that because that's just what we need to do. So, you know, that's going to happen, but that doesn't happen on a regular basis. But the financials being tacked onto that on the same day does happen on a regular basis. So, but as long as those financials are done before the Thursday of the meeting each time, then I don't think we need to change anything on that resolution.
Excellent. Good cooperation.
Well, isn't that something that we just have to require of the bookkeeper?
Director Kelly, you have a question?
Are we not able to require that of our bookkeeper to have the financials ready the day before?
She already said that she was gonna
I
do
just
it.
asked her, she said she could.
So yeah, so I think we can move on. I think we just had it on there so that we could review and make sure that we weren't doing something, or, you know, that we were complying and everything was okay on that resolution. But I saw, you know, from what I saw in the resolution, there wasn't anything that needed to be added.
Okay, perfect. Let's move on. Number 16, discussion vote on renewing the past human resources services. Does someone want to speak to that?
It's just boilerplate, redoing it, right, Tiffany?
yeah, we just have to sign the, it's another.
But I do have a question. Whatever,
Yeah.
Director Nyman, please.
whatever happened to our handbook?
There was an ad hoc created that hasn't had a chance to get to it yet.
Well, we had went over some stuff and then they were supposed to incorporate our changes.
No, I don't believe that it was ever finalized. I don't think anybody went over the handbook, and if you did, I wasn't included. Me and Lisa have talked about it multiple times, but she has been so busy with every other project going on, we haven't gotten around to it yet. I have suggested that I go over it and I make my changes and then forward it to somebody that wants to create an ad hoc for that. And me and Tiffany could go through it because there are some changes that have to be made. And then whoever wants to volunteer to review that before we send it to PAS or PASS, that's fine with me.
I do have a question because they did not include that this time. I didn't see that there was a separate charge for that. Are they including that in that $2,000? Because it's sort
I
of.
believe we already paid for that last time. We just haven't used the money that we paid.
But yeah, I think it was included in the yearly, it includes a yearly review of the handbook. That's
Okay,
what I
so-
read in the contract.
So it's not the actual handbook, it's the review of the handbook in the
Right.
2000.
But originally, I believe we paid two prices. I believe that we paid for the handbook and three. I thought we paid for the
It was three
regular services,
prices.
for
Yeah.
the phone calls, the 1-800 number phone calls, and the handbook. I believe
Yeah, that's
the way it
correct.
happened.
That's correct. We had 3 separate contracts. And then, so that was my one question is, it seemed like it was included, and Director Gibson is confirming that from what she read. So I think it is included.
But then in another, you know what, I'm sorry, because then in another part I read there was 2 different rates, but for going over a handbook, or maybe it was going over another, $198 an hour if they wrote the handbook, and a different amount if somebody else wrote the handbook. So if they're adjusting our handbook, the next year, is it considered that they wrote it, or is it still from a previous source?
Well, if we
They
paid for
wrote
it
our
already-
handbook, right?
If we paid for it already and we have not, utilize that service, I'm assuming that they still have to do our handbook originally for the money that we paid.
Okay,
I can
Well, I
send
thought
an
they-
email and I can send an email and confirm.
Can we get a clarification by the next meeting, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm gonna send an email and I'm gonna include Lisa. I don't know who else is on that ad hoc.
I originally was on the ad hoc.
Okay, so I'll include Lisa and Brahma in the question from PAS so we know what's going on.
Okay, and we'll include that in the next, regular
Because-
meeting.
What I remember is that we went through our handbook and made changes, and then we had sent it to them, and then they tried to give us, they didn't want to look at ours. They wanted to give us their boilerplate one.
Their boilerplate, but
Correct.
look over a couple of
And
the
we
changes.
did not want that because we spent so much time on our original handbook
And
that
then
had
the
gone back and forth to the lawyer over and over again.
Well, then the final email was, we need you to incorporate what we want into the handbook, which we never finished going through a handbook ourselves. We were trying to look over what they had. We decided that because Neil down in San Diego created the handbook for us, we wanted it in the same exact format as the way we have it now, so that's where it was left. The ad hoc did not submit our Word document of the handbook to PAS to make the corrections.
Because it was yeah, because they didn't want to do it. They wanted to do their handbook with us making corrections based on our handbook to their handbook, which,
Well, they actually didn't have a problem with it. They tried to submit their version, and I simply told them that we don't want it like that, and they said, okay, fine, give us your changes, your handbook, we'll make changes to that, and that's where it was left. There was
right,
never an issue with it whatsoever, other than we have to submit the Word document with our changes in it. So I will go through it, make my changes in red, forward them to the ad hoc committee, and then we could proceed from there.
okay, so I have a couple other questions that aren't the handbook. I have a question about whether we still need the helpline hotline service, which I don't think we've used once in the whole time that we've been paying for it in a year.
I do not believe we need it anymore. We have a very happy crew right now. Nobody's utilized it, as you stated, so I suggest that we discontinue.
And we're allowed to ask them up to an hour of, we're allowed to ask them. So if we needed to reinstate it, we could pay for it at that time, is my understanding. And then the second question I had is, we're supposed to be getting I think it's a 15% discount on Young Wooldridge on the attorney because they're a partner, and I don't think we've ever gotten that.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
It's in their contract. I just read it again today. They have a couple of partners that they partner with, and us paying for their services is supposed to give us a couple of discounts with the partners that they partner with, and we use Young Wooldridge constantly, but I don't believe we've ever gotten that discount. So it's just a question I have about that. And then you have been able to successfully use them for some questions, correct, Johnny? And then the final question I had, so is whether you've been able to use them for the questions you've had and whether that's worked out. And do we ever look at, because they don't send us all their tips and everything, you have to actively go on their website. Have we instituted something where we look at their HR tips or anything?
Well, I only caught part of that. You're breaking up a lot, but basically, I used them initially when we were going through some issues around here. They were very helpful. Since that time, I have not had any issues. I have not had to go to her for anything. Like you guys that are on your ad hocs, we in the office have been so busy with all that you're dealing with, plus all the rest of it, I haven't had a chance to really try to revise things as far as HR goes and using their forms, because we're just trying to keep our head above water and trying to keep the leaks from flowing and all the grants going and stuff. So it is there. I've looked at it. It is good information. Oh, the one thing I did use was the last time we went out for applications. I used their application. That was very useful. And Karen has responded to emails and texts from me right away and answered any questions that I've had in the past. So I still think that they are great for our company right now.
Okay, so can you just clarify the handbook and whether?
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. I'm emailing right now.
It's number 6. It's number 6 on the contract.
Sorry, Becky, what?
Director Gibson, you have a question?
Well, I said they discussed the annual assessment of the employee handbook, number 6 of the contract.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we just have to actually get them a handbook for them to review it. So I'm sending the email right now to make sure that the money that we paid is still good, and letting them know that we will be getting the changes over to them as soon as we can.
Well, I mean, that should be because they didn't do anything.
Well, as long as our memory serves correctly, that we did pay them a separate fee for that, which I believe we did, but it's been so long now, I'm just confirming.
We paid a separate fee,
We paid $600.
Yeah, 600 something.
And I'm sure we can find the receipt.
Okay, no, I mean, I don't think that's a problem, bro. I don't think people are deliberately going to try to get out of things. It always seems like, maybe we're worried about that, but I don't think we need to be.
Okay, so I would like to move that we.
I have one more question.
Director Gibson, please, ask it.
About the indemnifying of a PAF, that we indemnify them for them and their company if charges are brought against us. And we've had it for a year and we didn't make them a named insured. And I'm wondering, should we ask JPIA if we need to make them a named insured? Or should we just...
The thing I remember that came up about that, and I don't remember that they wanted to be named as an insured, what they wanted to make sure was that we knew they were not attorneys. And if we got sued using their advice, it was our fault. It was on us. So anything that is litigious, we would want to reach out to our regular attorneys because they are not attorneys.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion to end the yearly hotline, the use of the hotline on the yearly contract.
Actually, I would like to make a motion. I would like to move that we renew our contract with PASS, our standard contract, that we discontinue the additional contract for the employee hotline, and that we verify the handbook information, and also that we look into the Young Wooldridge 15% discount that I don't believe we've ever gotten.
Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Director Nyman has seconded that motion. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye, 5-0-0. Motion carried. Number 17, discussion vote on selling the Old District International 2400A tractor, serial number J101180.
Okay, if you guys remember, I tried for 2 years to sell through an auction the old dilapidated tractor we have as yard art out there. We agreed that we would take as low as $500 for it. People came out numerous times trying to start it, trying to get it running. It was just a nightmare, so I just gave up on it. A guy named Bruce Good, he on the side actually has worked for a auction house, but he offered to buy the tractor. He offered $650 for it, and he would get it out of our yard. I highly recommend that we accept it. We were willing to take $500 for it before. Now it's 2 years later, and it's half buried in dirt out in our yard, and it would be nice to get it out of there.
I'll entertain a motion to sell.
Hold on a second.
Forward, I have one issue with this. because years
Director
ago,
Stonemark, go ahead.
okay, years ago, we sold a dump truck to a member of the, and I think we sold other stuff, but I don't know, to a member of the community. And I think if we just sell something without offering it, like in the paper or like bidding or, you know, something, that could be potentially a problem. I'm not sure, but I think that could be an issue.
I kind of remember that too, Lisa.
Okay, wait, I'm saying we did offer it for 2 years, and nobody made an offer on it. Nobody bought it for 2 years. And I had to deal with at least 30 people coming out, taking up my time, trying to work on this thing to buy it. So nobody's done that. Nobody wanted it. So now we have somebody actually offering a fair price for it. I see no reason why we can't accept it since we already had gone through the process before.
I don't think we fully went through the process. I think you put it through some auction houses. But I don't, I mean, I'm not opposed to selling it for that price. I just want to make sure that this is okay, whenever we buy stuff, we're not a private company. When we purchase things, they're, you know, they're part of the community. And I just want to make sure that we're not doing something that's not,
Shiesty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand that. But the equipment's already been depreciated out, and I did go through the full process. I went through the whole entire process. I went to 2 different auction houses. The one, I mean, like I said, constant, continual harassment from having to get it to the yard, watch people trying to work on it. I mean, I did that whole process, but it just didn't. Nobody wanted it. It's really old, and it's plumbed with a bunch of galvanized piping instead of the correct hydraulic lines. I don't even know why anybody wants it. If it was me, I would have sold it for scrap.
well, selling it for scrap's about the same, about that price. So I looked it up. I looked up a bunch of stuff, and yes, it's not, I mean, if it was working, they're selling for about 6,900, but it's not working.
It's
So-
not. It's so far from working. It's not even funny.
Right.
Okay,
So,
maybe we put a ad in the paper just stating that we have a buyer for
Well, we
this.
can't do that. If you want to put an ad in the paper, we just got to put a for sale ad in the paper. We can't state that we have a buyer. We just need to
Okay.
say here. But then we're still selling it. See, the issue came up before, since the concern is that it went to people that maybe it shouldn't have. The past equipment 20 years ago was, it could be somebody's friend. So you put that in the paper, somebody comes and buys it. It turns out that one of us knows them, because guaranteed one of us does through our life in Fraser Park. So we wind up in the same situation as we do now. The only way you avoid that is by going out to bid, which we did, but nobody wanted it. So this guy, he bid his own price.
Yeah, but Johnny, I've had many conversations with Gene. I don't know his last name. And he's asked about, you know, if we were selling that.
Yeah, and a lot of people have asked me over the years, and I told them all to do the same thing that this guy Bruce Good. He came to me the same way 30 other people have over the last 12 years. I said, submit a letter to the board with an offer. They will decide if they want to sell it or not. That's what I've told all of them, including Gene. Everybody knows to do it. This guy Bruce Good is the first guy to actually put in a letter to the board with an offer.
Well, couldn't you say we're selling this equipment as is by this date, and you must submit a letter, and highest bid will obtain it.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like, I mean, I'm working 6 or 7 days a week now, so I mean, I'm not.
I get it. Hello?
Is there not a reason that 2 directors, and I don't want to do it, could do that? I mean, you know, you have some information on that, Terry. I don't know, or Becky or Jerry, you're not on any other ad hocs now, so couldn't we like just so that Johnny doesn't have to do it, just put it in the pay. I mean, I just think, I'm not sure that it's legal to just sell it without putting it out to the community.
Well, I would ask Alan Dowd, but then that's gonna take some of the money from the sale, but, I could do that too. Or, yeah, I'll put it in the paper for 1 week. Here you go. Because putting an ad in the paper is also gonna cost us. If we put it in there for a month, that's also gonna cost us. And then we're gonna have a bid opening and sealed bids and all that stuff, so that's gonna be additional board activity. Or we could just leave it in the yard. As far as I'm concerned, we could park it at one of the tank sites and just leave it there.
You're being really defensive, so I just think
I'm not being defensive, Lisa. I'm being tired, and it's just a simple offer, and we've already tried for 2 years for a $500 offer. Now we got 150 more, so, I mean, that's where I stand. But again, I'll do whatever you guys want me to do. I'll put that in the paper.
I mean, I think Johnny's, he has a simple solution, and he has so many things on his plate, as everybody in the water company does right now, that it's frustrating to him. This is what I'm assuming, Johnny, to say how many more hoops is he going to have to jump through. I did work for the state, and they sold some office furniture, and they had to advertise in the paper, and then for a certain amount of time, and then accept sealed bids, and then they had to pick bids. And it was cheap furniture, but that was a million years ago.
I'll put that in the paper as soon as it can get in there, and
Johnny,
I'll
what?
Johnny, I'm just saying, just hang on a second, Lisa, please. I'm not being defensive. I'm just trying to get past this. I'll put that in the paper for a month. I don't think it's much if you just put a regular classified ad, and I'll put all bids to be in, all sealed bids to be in by whatever date it is of 30 days after the ad goes in, and then we'll just do it at that point. We'll include it in a regular board meeting where we open them, if anybody bids, and then you guys could decide then.
And I don't think it needs to be a month. I think it probably needs to only be like 2 weeks.
Yeah, at least twice. But Johnny, when we did that, go ahead, Lisa.
I was just suggesting that like someone on the board could do that so that you don't have one more thing on your hands, Johnny. Like
well,
someone.
It's only going to be an email and a picture to do it. I guess I am just a little frustrated that to get rid of a piece of junk, it's required so much of my time over the last couple of years is all. I understand that there's some other things. The same guy is going to possibly look at the old leak truck and the dump truck to take to the auction house that he works for to auction that stuff off for us too. So it would behoove us to go ahead and run the ad. Whoever wants to bid can bid. Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to bid as much as this guy, so we'll just run it. But I think if we're going to worry about doing it the right way, it needs to be in there for a month, 30 days.
Johnny, when you got rid of the old Xerox machine, I think you gave it to the school or something because we couldn't just sell it. Isn't that what?
No, it was just determined that it wasn't worth money, and giving it to somebody in the community was the easiest way to make sure that everything went smooth. But again, I think we paid next to nothing in the 60s when we bought this thing. So I'll go ahead and put that in the paper. Is everybody good with running that for 30 days?
Yeah.
I say 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Should I ask Alan Dowd how long I need to run it?
No.
Well, I mean, okay. Well, whatever you direct me to do, I'll be happy to do.
I think that we should find out exactly the procedure that we're supposed to do because we have other equipment and other stuff that could also be sold. And if we have the procedure, then that's all we do each time. We don't bother about, because there are people in the community that stuff all the time. I just don't want it to be, looked at. We already have so many issues in this community. I don't want like favoritism or anything like that coming up. If it's a bid and it's advertised in the paper, then nobody can really say anything. I mean, they can, but it's not going to go anywhere.
Sounds good. I'll send an email right now to Alan, and when I get the answer, I'll just proceed with what he says, and then we will address it at the time frame he recommends.
Okay, thank you, Johnny.
You're welcome.
We'll carry it over to the next special or planning meeting. They'll give us 30 days. Okay. Number 18, review and approve meeting minutes for 6/22/2021.
Wait. Are we gonna do the financials first?
I'm sorry, you are correct. We had moved number 11, 12, and 13. Number 11, discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information.
Okay, Lisa, how do I get this started?
I would think just do your regular amount that, you know, in the account and everything, and then you can address the amount of our checks. What we're gonna need to do is we didn't have enough time to look at any of these. So what we need to do is have Linda just address what the amounts are, and if there's any issues, we can vote to pay our bills, but we may have to have some contingencies if there's any that don't make sense or.
Okay. Can I do? Ask them? Did you hear me?
There you go.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so as of today, July 22nd, 2021, the total cash balance in all accounts is $2,065,820.77. The revenue operating account balance as of today is $223,208.07. And then this balance is after the checks were written for invoices for today in the amount of $17,523.25. So the checks that I have on hand today that we made checks for is for Cannon Financial, $360.60, ABC Occupational Medical Center for $230, ADP, $135.09, American Business Machines, $16, California Parking and Highway, that was for the patch of the road for Elm, and I can't read the rest of it, but for 3 different areas, and that was $6,700. And the California Rural Water Association, that's a membership renewal, that was $816. And we needed to replenish the petty cash, which was $124.78. Then for Cross Connection Specialist, that was $450. And Ferguson Enterprises, that was for 4-inch meter install at the well, that was $6,412.88. And then, let's see, Frazier Park Lumber was
I'm sorry,
$240.
real quickly, Johnny, at what well?
It didn't say, let's see. What well? I don't think it said what well.
I wasn't paying attention, I was emailing Alan, so what is the question?
Oh, she asked you
The
what
meter-
well.
the meter-
Ferguson Enterprises for $6,412.88.
6,000.
That was one, I forget your box.
Oh, you need it. Here, here's the invoice.
That's for well 5 for the jumper line that we're gonna install for blending.
Okay. Okay.
Okay?
So that's something that we may want to separate out to remember to at least try to see if we can get reimbursed from the state for well 7 to do that. I doubt they're gonna pay for it, but it don't hurt to ask.
Yeah, I agree. If Tiffany, if you can make a note or set, something aside for that, and then also the bowls being lowered when we do that.
Okay, and then I have Frazier Park Lumber for $241.30. We have M&S Security for $240. That's for monitoring the yard and the office. And then we have Mountainside Disposal for the bin rent, which is $18.50. We have PayPal for research and consultation on cyber security, and that was $110. And then we have RLS Electric. That was a service call.
Wait. So can I ask a question? So PayPal, we paid someone with PayPal?
No, not it's I'm sorry, PC Pal. They're
Okay.
text.
Yeah.
Computer
Okay.
text.
That's
Yeah.
better. Okay.
Yeah, that does sound. I did say that wrong. Sorry about that. Okay, and RSL Electric. It's $250. It looks like I misclassified that.
That was for servicing of our office generator.
Okay.
Okay, I was just classifying that. Then the Mountain Enterprise, we paid, I guess we did some advertising, open displays, $546.15. And the Voyager fleet for fuel is $840.06. State compensation insurance for workers' comp is $3,031.89. And that amount comes to the net checks of $17,523.25.
3,000, why is it the state compensation is usually $1,000 a month?
I think that this is a renewal for the new fiscal year, or because that's what it said. It's a renewal. I think when you renew for the beginning of the year, they charge you more. Why, I don't know, but they charge you more, and then you have to do the audits every month or every 6 months, whatever it is, and then you pay on what your actual payroll is. But you can check that, because I have the bill here.
I'll have to look.
Yeah, check that out. And that's all I have. All the checks are ready, everything is ready in a pile for you in the little black folder. Okay, so it's all done.
So I'd like to move that we pay our bills with the understanding that if there are any issues, once we actually look at them, that we will address that at that point.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Director Gibson has seconded it. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye, 5-0-0. Motion carried. Number 12, discussion vote on contract for the bookkeeper.
Did you bring an agreement to the board? No, so
I thought today was Wednesday.
So we need to table that till the next meeting.
No,
Well, we gotta
we'll
have,
make a contingency on it.
well, they can't approve an agreement unless they have it.
Well,
Yeah,
The agreement-
we really need an agreement because I thought we had one originally. I thought that you wrote something up for it.
It's only gonna be 2 weeks till the next meeting, so.
yeah, Lisa, I thought today was Wednesday, and so I'm behind a full day, that's for sure. But anyways,
So you'll bring it for next
I
week?
will bring it for next week.
But
Thank
Lisa,
you. No,
did
thank
we
you.
originally get a contract from you?
I thought I did, but I guess I didn't.
Yeah,
Who
because
would
I
have
thought
who
we,
would have gotten it? You?
The board would have had to approve it, and I never saw one.
Oh, okay. So do you need one for the beginning and one for the change?
No, we can just go forward from, the beginning already is done. We just need
But if you wanna
The
have
new
it for your
change.
files.
Well, what are we agreeing to? Because
It was the
I'm,
new, it was the new monthly amount for X amount of time. For while she gets caught up on everything, and then we were gonna reevaluate it at a later date.
okay.
So we never agreed on what amount.
Yeah, we did. We agreed on $2,000 for, I think it was 3 months, and then we would revisit it. So we did agree to an amount. We just gotta,
I think we didn't.
No,
We
actually-
didn't agree to it.
That was my.
We didn't
suggestion.
agree to it.
We did not agree to it. I think that was my suggestion. And then
Correct.
we tabled it
okay,
because
so
Correct.
it'll be on the next agenda, so,
Next
That's
regular
good.
meeting.
yeah, next regular meeting.
Okay, number 13, discussion vote on book asset detail.
Don't
okay,
have it.
as discussed, well, there's quite
It's
a bit.
dissolved.
No, it's not dissolved. There's quite a bit on there. I think that now, Director Nyman and I can incorporate that in our talks with our bookkeeper. So, I am going to bring what I have. I don't know if we'll get to that on this first meeting when we meet for the bills, the next bills, but, I think, that's part of all of this. And the reason it's part of all this is something like the tractor, if we end up selling it, needs to be, even though it's been depreciated, it's still being counted on our asset list. So a lot of that stuff needs to go away if it's sold or depreciated or so so we'll move forward on that. I'm hoping that we have until October, which is going to come very quickly, but it's a lot of work to do on it still. But I do know that the David from RC AC has moved forward just dealing with billing and stuff like that. He has not asked for the book asset detail again yet.
So you want this carried over again?
Yeah, it's gonna just keep carrying over until we actually do the Prop 18, I believe.
Okay, thank you. Okay, back to number 18.
Okay,
Review and
let me move. Can I move now that we finish, that we go ahead and finish business, even though it's 8 minutes short, just so that we do that in case the minutes take a few minutes longer?
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Director Gibson has seconded. Roll call director. Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 500. Motion carried. Okay, number 18. Review and approve meeting minutes for 6/22/2021. Did anyone find any errors?
I did not find any errors on this one. I don't know if anybody else did. I'll make a motion if there's nothing else.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the meeting from June 22nd, 2021 with, if we find any errors or omissions, that we will fix it. That was so unprofessional, but
I second it.
Okay, Director Nyman has seconded. Roll call directors. Director Gibson.
aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 500. Motion carried. Minutes for special meeting 6/24/2021. Anyone have any errors on that one?
The special or the regular?
Special 6/20/2024/2021 planning meeting.
I think that's the one I had. Hold on, because that's not in order of how we get to that. We had a special meeting, June 24th. I don't believe I had any changes on.
Okay, would you like to move?
Oh, no, I did. I'm sorry. I do have a change. So on page 3 of special minutes 24, number 11, where it says, GM Allison recommended the district purchase bulk drinking water to provide to pregnant women infants. It needs to say and infants or infants or something. It's not
Right.
pregnant infant.
Okay,
And I think, let's see if that's the only one. Yeah, that's the only change I had.
I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the special meeting minutes of June 24, 2021 with the amendment that Director Schoenberg suggested, and with the possibility of errors and typos we have not found,
May not have found, okay.
may not have found.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Director Killian has seconded it. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson.
Abstain.
Director Killian.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 5-0-0. Motion carried. And last but not least, we have minutes for a planning meeting. Special planning meeting, 6/24/21.
No, this is the regular planning meeting because you did the special.
We just did this.
So there's only 2 minutes here?
No,
Or 3, there's 3.
you skipped ahead and did the special meeting first. So now we're on the regular planning meeting for the same day.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I broke it at the wrong, should have broke it at the camera, at the comma. That's correct. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the planning meeting of 6/24/2021.
And I had notes on here to try to understand this. So hold on a second. So on page 4, there's a motion that we go out to bid for well number 7 based on a last look of the final product of plans before they go. It was like a really bizarre sentence.
Well, if that's what he said, that's what we said.
I know, but well, she's adjusted it with a little asterisk so it makes sense before. That we go out to bid for well 7 based on last look. So we already made that motion based on a last look of the final product plans before they go. And final from Lawrence Sanchez.
What page is that?
Page 4.
4.
Thank you.
Look at the final product of plans and specs are planned before it goes out to bid. It's not before they go, it's before the bid goes out. Something, I don't know, Tiffany. That's up to you, but it doesn't really make sense. Tiffany?
I don't think it really matters.
Dawn?
So, do you have a suggestion how you'd like it changed?
I don't know. Is that exactly how he said it before they go?
Motions are always word for word.
It doesn't matter, really.
Yeah,
I'm-
just leave it alone. Just leave it alone, whatever. And then I just wanted to, yeah, these checks, yeah, that's fine. That was the only thing I just had a question on something else, but it's the same thing.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve these minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the regular planning meeting minutes for Thursday, June 24th, 2021, 6 PM, with the possibility of errors or typos that we have not caught.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that. Did you hear me? I second it. Kelly.
I'm sorry, I was muted. We've had a second and roll call directors. Director Gibson,
Abstain.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye, 5-0-0. Motion carried.
No,
5-0,
not.
no, 501.
Sorry, 4-0-1 abstention.
401, yeah. Okay, Jerry?
Not hearing any, does anyone have any other suggestions for agenda items? Not hearing anything, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll
I'll
second
second
that.
it.
Okay, Director Kellen has seconded it. Roll call directors. Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 5-0-0. Motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
3.
See you in 3 weeks.
And
Well,
Director Schoenberg, do you want to get together